What's going on, everybody? Tenor here, Tenor Talk, where we speak truth and from the heart. Just want to check that we are live. Can anyone give me a 5 by 5 in the chat? I've got a very special person waiting in the wings here. Tenor Talk, where we speak truth. Anybody? Let me know that we are live. Let me check YouTube. Looks like we're live on YouTube. All right, let's check Rumble. Are you ready to rumble? Let's check Rumble, baby. Looks like we're live. All right. I'm just going to bring Ken in right now, and I'll share links while Ken is introducing himself because I don't need to hear that. Mr. Close, Ken Close, the man, the myth, the legend. How are you tonight, sir?
Hey, I'm doing fabulous. Hey, thank you very much for having me again for a second round. This is a privilege.
I love having you. It's actually the third time we spoke briefly just about my dad, and then the very first time was a while ago. Was with Sophia in the Adirondacks, our very first interaction. So it's three times. Third time's a charm, Ken. I know we just got a couple of notes tonight. I like to introduce you as the man who risked his life. No one we know now in the world. When you bring health in the past, when you bring health, when you bring things that go against the cabal, against Satan, against devil, you find yourself suicided and missing and all kinds of things. And you, honestly, really, it's not funny at all. I appreciate warriors like you because you basically smuggled the Healy into the United States from Germany. How long ago?
Well, it's been over 3 years now.
Over 3 years. So you brought a Helion that literally could have gotten you killed. Like, I mean, 3 years ago, we were still in an era where we were fighting really good and doing a lot of battling and defeating the devil, but you risked your life. So I'm going to share some links. I know all about you. I love you. You're the man. Thank you so much for coming back on. Tonight's going to be amazing. Everyone should be glued to this because just in the notes in the 5 minutes that we jumped on early and the spirit was working, right, Ken? We should have just had the show in the 5 minutes before, but we'll be able to do it because that's what the spirit wants us to talk about. It's really exciting. But tell people about you briefly, and I'm going to share the links for everyone to make sure that they're here. I'm going to put you full screen so people can absorb you fully, and I will be right back. Take the stage, sir.
Well, thank you. I don't know about risking my life, but I do understand, and I know that when we go against the norm, against convention, we get attention, right? We get a lot of people paying attention, and sometimes that attention, especially if we're solving things permanently, you know what I mean? When we're healing, as opposed to just putting on band-aids or masking, sometimes that gets a lot of attention. And so yeah, talking about some technology that we're going to go into later that really is working on a wider range of healing as opposed to just masking. But thanks again for having me here. My name's Ken Close. My background is in engineering, technical engineering, as a matter of fact. I've spent the last decade diving deep into the metaphysical and a lot into neuroscience and epigenetics, because it's a lot of what we can't see is what we should be paying attention to. And I love Nikola Tesla said over 100 years ago, he said that the day that science begins to study the non-physical phenomenon, it will make more progress in one decade than it has in the previous centuries of its existence. And the reason I'm saying that is because the non-physical is not what contemporary modalities are typically working with. And so that's where I've been for the last 10 years, working on a lot with some amazing thought leaders in our country. You guys have probably heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, some great forward thinkers, some people who are really digging deep into some ancient technologies that are not so ancient. I mean, they're just ways of being, of healing, and of really taking control and giving our power back to us as an individual. So about almost, actually, I said it was 3 years ago. It's actually almost 4 years ago now. I did pair up with a German company to introduce a technology into the United States that really dove deep into what I believe in the quantum field, into the quantum entanglement and the non-physical, the literal non-physical of how we change the biological outcome of these bodies, and not by some drug or some procedure such as a surgical procedure or some medical process. This is by energy. Folks, energy is everywhere and everything is energy. And this is, again, one of my studies, is to understand that by shifting our energy, we shift us, right? No matter what it is. And Tanner and I were just talking in the green room there about some of the conditions that he was presenting, right? In terms of what we talked about a couple of weeks ago about how we stay on track. And then you experienced, right, how you got off track so quickly and so easily and so autonomically. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said to you, right, the spirit is just like, it's just the notes about it's four things that we when we spoke, we're like, wow, that's great. We'll talk about those next week, and that was the show. But in the green room, for the 5 minutes that you came in, and you'll touch on this right now. I guess it's the perfect segue, right? I said I got to find a clip. I'm going to use a clip from the previous show of Ken talking about something, and we were on like 40 minutes our first show, and I picked, like, I went in like 5, 6, 7 minutes in, and was right at the mark where you were talking about the 800,000 cells per second. Right. So I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So I got to get about a minute clip of that so I could just say, we'll see you tonight, yada, yada, put Ken in there. But when I woke up today, I was angry. I got angry. It's truth from the heart here. It's not all peaches and cream with pops. And, everyone knows I'm taking care of I busted my father out of the nursing home and I'm saving his life, right? I took him out at the end of June. And it's a full-time job, but I think the creator wanted that to happen so I can have that story. So it's not just like, hey, did you hear about this? It's like, here I am, this truther on this journey, and I'm taking on the medical industry. I'm fighting the doctors. I'm going against everything they say. I broke my father out of the home non-traditionally, not on their terms, letting them let me know when he can come home. I signed him out for lunch on a Friday, like a normal thing, and he never went back. I had the police here. I mean, the whole thing, right? So I'm experiencing this so I can tell this firsthand out of the horse's mouth how I'm saving my father with frequency. And I have to show right here, Ken, I got the blue dot running. I'm running Schussler salts on my pops, and
Nice.
people can't get it. Like he's getting calcium carbonate, from the gods, right? And it's like, what are you talking about, Tenner? That's Star Trek shit. That's right. That's what's going on. This is what saved his life. And I'm running sports on myself because I did a lot of work outside, Ken, and I was a little worn. Going to be 55 next month, I'm almost going to be on the cover of Men's Fitness like you.
Right on.
Anyway, you can see I'm a little revved up. Coffee a few hours ago. But we were talking about the 800,000 cells. I woke up angry with him because I want him to be working harder. Because I know that he's just about cured. He's off of all of his medicines, Ken. I'm incorporating some Lasix because we're like every other day or every 2 days because we're still working on that water retention. But I got him off of you saw the list, laundry list for diabetes, for his heart medication, opioids for pain medications, blood pressure. He's off everything, Ken, everything. And this is what I'm experiencing. So I was angry today with him because I'm like, Dad, you can do that, do it. Like he asked me to do something. I'm like, you can do it. And we had a little thing. So then I'm laying there and then I get up and I'm doing the promo for the show and I'm listening to you talk about stuff in that 800,000 cells and how I'm setting up my day, my future by what's running through my mind. And if you use the thing, if you're angry in traffic, and you're going through all of that, that's what I'm programming, those almost, billion cells that are going through me. I'm programming anger into my world, right?
100%.
So take on that because I can go forever. Yeah. Take on that.
100%. And this is the actual epigenetic phenomenon that's going on. There is a divine intelligence, folks, that is operating, permeating, and creating these bodies all the time, every second. And these bodies, to the tune, as he said, of 800,000 cells per second, were being recreated. Now, you're not doing that, right? I mean, who's doing that? And if you think you are, I challenge you to say, stop doing that. Right? Just like, okay, stop digesting your food. I'm gonna ask you to stop some of these vital functions, right? And that's not going to happen, because there is a divine intelligence that is operating these systems on purpose. Because the truth be known is that for the most part, we're not trusted as a mind to be able to do it very well. So there is a divine intelligence that does the fundamentals for us. And all we have to do is get on board with a positive input to actually sway some of that genetic output to a body's form. Now, understand that of those 800,000 cells per second, now some of them are bone and some of them are muscle, some of them are brain, some of them are skin. All these cell structures in our bodies turn over at different rates. Some every day, some every 3 months, some every several years. The point is still that grouping of 800,000 per second is still happening. And 3% of the genetic code that is going to determine whether that's a bone cell, a skin cell, or a muscle cell is fixed. 3%. Now, you might ask, well, what's the other 97%? What's that for? Well, that's an adaptive part of the gene that allows the environment to dictate its outcome. So think about this for a second. 3% is fixed. It's going to be a bone, a muscle, a skin, whatever, of your tendency, whatever you are, your gender, your ethnic background, right? Your age group, all the things that are you in this present moment. 3% of those 800,000 is being determined by your ancestral input, right? 97% is adaptive. It's a code reading the environment. And what it's reading very specifically is the energy, a frequency of information. And understand that the external environment, hear me now, the external environment of the cell is the internal environment of the body. So everything that you think, everything that you feel, everything that you process within this mind of yours is energetic frequency being infused into your body, being read by what? 97% of the adaptive gene that I told you about, helping those 800,000 cells express the version of you in that present moment. So look at the power you have.
Now, on that, right? Because I always would tell everyone with the Healy, right? You would think someone, Tenner's snake oil salesman. If all I cared about was just like people, getting a Healy, why would I tell them that it's my belief that in the future, I think it might be a little while, because we as humans, we have a lot to learn and we don't seem to be learning things too quickly. I see the tide turning. I see a lot of wins. But I always tell people, and I always try to make sure, if I haven't, I forgot. I always say, and it came from you too, and it definitely makes sense when you know what's going on. The Healy is just a bridge between us and that power and everything that you just spoke about, for us to change who we are and to tap into our power and to manifest what we want. We do that. But this thing, right now, until we fully learn how to grasp that and do that and help others do that and actually do it for others, because we have that power, this is the Bentley of everything. I don't, just because, not because I'm in Healy, I was involved in patches and watches and blow dryers with lights coming out of them. They all have a level of, but nothing on the planet, and I have to say it, nothing can do what this thing does. And this thing helps you tap into all that power. It's that simple. I know people that I'm on other networks where they're going to get upset with me because they swear by other things. And I'm not saying they don't work, but nothing on planet Earth, and it's a fact, will do what this device does. This goes into ancestral stuff. This is what helped me forgive my dad, right? Which we'll get into in a little bit, Ken, but go ahead.
Yeah. So this is, again, remember that 97% of the adaptive gene, we can do a lot of things. We can do things ourselves, right? By thought alone, by thought management, by mind management, which, you guys understand how fun it is to try to manage your mind. But you can do this, but it takes diligence. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of extra work. And I'm not saying that this is like the blue pill or the red. But
Right.
it sure is another way, maybe an easier way to influence the energy being or the frequencies that are becoming that 97% of that adaptive gene. So think about this for a moment, because if we are in our minds all the time, and we're going to talk about how to get out of that. But as Tanner said, that some of the struggles is it gets away with you without you even knowing it. And all of a sudden, you may, hour down the road, realize that you're still thinking about that same thing, right? That was troubling you, and it's still creating the same emotional baggage. So what do, right?
I have to, we have to go right into that, Ken,
Yeah.
because even after, this is how programmed we are. This is how crafty the devil has been forever and ever and ever. He keeps us occupied, keeps us in fear, keeps us angry, keeps us in that space. And this happened today, Ken, because I believe we had to talk about it. We're getting so close. You mentioned these gentlemen, um, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, and Joe Dispenza. And I listen a little bit here and there. There's so much going on the planet that you can't just dive in fully to all of these things. But I listen to some of those videos, and I believe that listening to one of the Greg 10, 12-minute videos connecting the brain and the heart, and getting into that space where you're not angry and you're just full of love, and you're thinking about love, compassion, all of these beautiful things. And then you're bringing in the things that you want. You see them as if they're already done, and all the stuff that we have to learn that goes with all of this. I still couldn't do it after I did the promo. And I'm like, holy crap, I was the angry guy in traffic while I was laying in bed, what Ken was talking about. And I was still dwelling on it a little bit. That's how programmed we are, Ken.
Yeah.
We must do everything we can and be guided to the places and the tools that we need to get out of that shithole in our own head, because we won't change anything.
And I know that what we will change is what we find value in changing. So in other words, if we find value in a change, some other way of being, if we find value in it, we'll probably pursue it. We'll probably move into it, change into it, if we find value in it. And I'm going to tell you where we can find value in a new way of being is information. So the better that we promote or give information around the simplicity of change. So in other words, how easy it is to build 800,000 cells per second, right? How to influence that 800,000 cells per second, how easy it is, and how automatically that we do it, whether we're aware of it or not. So building this awareness, in terms of going to the gym, folks, if you're going to go to the gym, what I would work out is your awareness muscle, because that's going to be probably your best asset when it comes to getting past and beyond those automatic thoughts and those programs. Because as we know, a thought is something that we have lots of them every day. And neuroscience says 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day going on inside here. And 90% of those, at least, are redundant thoughts from yesterday. We rarely have a new thought, right? Normally it's a rehearsal from yesterday's content. And if we're in this present moment thinking about the past, or if we're in this present moment worrying about the future, we're not creating. We're just duplicating the past or stewing over the future that hasn't even come here yet. And in this present moment, we're building a body to be prepared for that outcome. Right.
We're just dwelling. When we're caught up. Also, I believe a lot of the stuff that's happening in the world, there's like craziness going on. And in my other videos, I talk about red pilling and, military operation that's going on globally. But a lot of the stuff we have to try to separate a little bit from, and we have to worry about our own lives, because a lot of people are waiting to get saved, Ken, and we have all the power to do that. And, the creator sent me home and said, come take care of your father. And so no one did that, like military or, some angel or, I mean, maybe they guided me, but I didn't physically see them. They didn't go into the home with me and argue with the doctors in the medical industry. I had to take action, and I had to do it. Speaking of that, I think he might have to go to the bathroom. Everyone always wants to see Pops when we're talking about healing. What's up? Say hello
Hey, Pops.
to Ken.
How you doing? So good to see you.
Right there. He's the man that smuggled this device into the United States and risked his life to save your life. So my father's actually, lock up those wheels. Last time people saw my dad in the home, he like got up and I almost had to help him, up, and he was like out of breath and everything. I just want to show you the progress. We started physical therapy. Show everyone, lock those wheels and just get up without some, get up like Speedy Gonzalez. Not too fast. What's going on? You good? Look at that. Perfectly.
That's awesome.
Up. He's walking with the walker like a speed demon, getting in and out of the shower. Love you, Pops. Getting in and out of the shower by himself. I mean, the progress is amazing. So we got physical therapy 2 days a week. And I told you, you'll get right back into it, but I told you, Ken, Pops doesn't really know, right? He's 88. It's, it's hit and miss when we talk about things. He doesn't really get this. He knows that I'm putting a piece of plastic in his pocket, since February, and he knows he's off of every single medication. He knows he's out of the nursing home that he's been in for 2 years, a rehabilitation center, they were called, Ken. 2 years, he was slowly dying. And I don't blame the people, are just trained in the medical system. So I'm not attacking anyone personally, but he was being slowly murdered in the home. I bring him out. I'm not a doctor, only played one on TV, but I am a social media doctor, Dr. Tenner, SMD. We have fun with that. I should have worn my stethoscope. Anyway, Ken, here he is, proof. I have my 88-year-old father. We started in February when I came home. I'm treating him with frequency. He's being treated right now through the airwaves because I'm wearing the other Healy. I'm being a little spoiled. I'm treating myself for a change. And there he is. There he is. There's the facts. He's off his laundry list of medications. He's walking. He has breath. He has energy. He's not struggling. There he is. And he really doesn't even know kind of what's going on, Ken. And we were talking in the green room, I said, because I think my energy, right?
Yeah.
And so
there's
all of that. And then
well, like I mentioned, everything is energy, right? Everything. So what the external environment of the cell is experiencing is this internal environment of you, this body. And then what this mind and the senses are experiencing is the external world that we're in and everything you see around you. So you constantly take in content from your world with your senses, what you see, smell, taste, and feel. All that information goes in and gets processed by what? The filter, the mind. All right. And this mind makes sense of things, or attempts to. Whether it doesn't understand a damn thing or not, it still has to assign meaning to everything, because that's a life or death situation. This is the part of the old prehistoric limbic brain that says, I have to make sense of it, because if I don't, it may kill me, right? It may hurt me. I have to know exactly what's going on. So it'll make shit up, to pardon my mouth, but it will make stuff up.
We're good
to make sure that you're safe. So in other words, when it's trying to assign meaning to something, it will try to assign the worst case scenario meaning to something to keep you safe before it gives you the best case scenario. So as a person, as you trying to help your surroundings, your father, you're building this model inside, and you've been doing a lot of practice around staying in that feeling of love, in that transmission of that frequency of compassion, taking care of your dad and getting beyond the
I have to pause you there, Ken. I've been struggling a little bit because it's a lot.
I'm sure.
There's some rough days, and it's almost like a reversal. It's like, I'm the dad, and it's like, come on, get up, walk the hall, do your exercise. It's a lot, and I've faded away from that, and it reached the boiling point this morning. I was the angry person in traffic today that you spoke about in the video, and I said, and I had to work today. I said, you're good. I got set up and I took a ride down by the water, and I sat by the water, and I started to calm myself. I said, you got to go back to the guy you were when you were manifesting, when he was in the home, when you were manifesting him walking and getting out of the wheelchair. And do you know that story? Like, as I was manifesting like months ago, he called me while I was in that heavy, deep, like Lipton dispenser Braden space that I
Yeah.
seem to have faded away from. As I was doing that, he was getting physical therapy at the home that he hadn't had for a while. I did that twice. I manifested all of this.
Yep.
I know
Yep.
that I did, but I got away from that. I became the angry guy in traffic, and we're going to use that, Ken, when we talk to the future. Don't be the angry guy.
Don't be that guy.
Floaty, butterfly, magic carpet ride guy. Woo,
That's right.
everything's
That's
amazing.
right. Don't be that angry guy. And so, because that's an energy field.
It
And
is.
here's the thing, folks, that there is a endless supply of energy fields out there, right? Consciousness encompasses everything. And so if the consciousness of the collective is on anger, right, it's felt by all. And if
Even your pets. I just got to do the segue.
Totally.
We're closing with pets today, everyone. There's an
Yep.
amazing thing going on in Healy for you to love and cure and help your
Yep.
pets. If you don't care about yourself or your friends and your family, you probably love your pets. So we're closing with an amazing story with Ken, how he saved Charlie. And this amazing deal. So go ahead, Ken. I just want to don't go anywhere, everybody. We're closing.
Stick around, you guys. I want you to meet Charlie. Well, now I'll tell you all about her. Anyway, the understand that every time you have a thought, this thought is electrical pulses in the brain that creates a magnetic wave, right? Guess what? That's going out into the world. So your thoughts are actually they're being transmitted. Then if you take that thought and you create a word out of it and you start speaking a sentence based on that, now you've put words in the world. That's another frequency of information, right? The audio range of frequency, the words that we say. And what are those words?
Are you talking about spelling?
I'm talking about, we cast these words of spells, and that's why a word is spelled out, right? Because we are casting words outwardly, and those words are interpreted. Now, some people may be speaking one language, and another one can't understand the language, but I promise you, you can feel the emotion being carried behind the language.
It's your emotion.
It's exactly
your
right.
Emotion. Because you're not talking when you're thinking those beautiful things and you're manifesting and you're cleared out of there.
Oh yeah.
You're not talking in English or German or anything. You're
in frequency.
Your heart have connected, and you have just this it's your own it's its own new language. It's the heart mind language, whatever you want to call it. And that's how this works, and that's how this stuff gets done, folks. And we really have to start to pay more attention to this. Last year, well, no, 2 years ago, I would laugh at a show like this. I would turn this off. I would be like, what the F are these people talking about, right? Where's my beer, right? And this is so real, and this is the main thing that's going to change the world once we all get on this same page and start speaking that same language. We all speak the same language.
It's all energy. It's all an energy signal. So as you mentioned, if I'm speaking in an angry tone, they don't need to know my words, but they can sure feel the emotion. And everybody sends a message out from your body. Have you ever approached another human? I know you guys have, and you feel resistant, or you feel accommodating, you feel something by the presence of another entity, right? Or you've moved into a space, a room where it feels odd. This is you reading the environment, right? And when it's another person, you can feel instantly a lot of content that's coming off of them, because that's all frequency. It's all energy coming off them. And we have within our bodies, this intelligent body, a system called the reticular activating system. This reticular activating system processes 400 billion bits of information per second, right? This is part of our nervous system. It processes 400 billion bits of information per second. Now stay with me for a second, because I want you to understand everything you're taking in right now, what you see, taste, feel, and touch, every bit of that content. I would like you to just take a notebook and write it all down. I want the texture, the depth, the colors. I want all of the tones. Write it all down. I promise you, if you wrote it all down for this 1 second, take a snapshot, it would be a volume of information, right? Now, All of that information, everything you're taking in right now per second is only 2,000 bits. Now, 400 billion from the reticular activating system is taking in 400 billion. You, as an awareness, is only reading or aware of 2,000 bits. So there's a lot going on in the background that your awareness is not conscious of. This is what you feel when you walk up to somebody. This is your little tingly senses, right? That's going off. That's what's going on. But it's used within your body, within that primitive brain to say, am I safe or am I not safe? That reticular activating system is feeding information into that ancient brain, that prehistoric brain, and the brain is determining safe or not safe based on how you feel. So same kind of thing that you were talking about a second, Tenner, is that when you're around your father and you're becoming healthier yourself and you're in proximity. Now, remember this field that you emit easily. Now I'm saying easily monitors, it resonates off of you to 3 meters or 9 feet in an orbit, in a circle. Put yourself in a 9-foot sphere. You know how big that is? That's like a Volkswagen Bug, right? It's like the size of a Volkswagen Bug. It's like a bubble that size.
Jump in the car with me.
Yeah. And so that's when you move around and you're in people's fields. You know how people have said, you're in my space, you're in my field, you're whatever. That's very, very true. And so when you're in proximity with another human, the things that you do, the things that you feel, the things that you think are also propagating and amplifying them. So if we're angry, if we're feeling defeated, if we're feeling unloved, and we're in a family with our partner, with our children, with our pets, what do you think we're doing to that environment? You know, you've got to take responsibility. Nobody's like you said, nobody's coming in to save you. We have to take responsibility for this information and make it part of our daily regimen to take this information and rehearse it. Remember, 800,000 cells per second is building your body, and your thoughts have something to do with that.
It's amazing, Ken. We came up with the good stuff. So I'm going to use the don't be the angry old man or woman. Cheer up, smile. You're making the angry old man is flying through the air, and there's an angry chemtrail coming out, and it's floating in your house and poisoning the environment. What's going on?
So think about that. When I say amplify, if you have a house full of people that do have joy in their heart, abundance in their thoughts, and love all around them, you have a group of people. One can influence 1,000. Now, Greg Braden does an amazing presentation on how humans influence others. Dr. Joe Dispenza has published content around groups of monks that have come into an environment to do their meditations, and crime rate has gone down. Right, accidents have diminished. Things that have changed within the demographic of that city just because there was an intention work done by some very skilled individuals.
They stopped the war, one of the wars. It's crazy. So Ken, before I forget, because I didn't write it down, what we're talking about a lot of amazing stuff, but how does the Healy fit in right now for people with everything that we're talking about?
And we touched on it a little bit.
Right.
What I want to do is I'm an engineer, so I try to present principles, because if you understand the principles of things, like I said, 800,000 cells per second, now you can decide how to use them in your life within your own orchestration. So if you understand that everything is energy, and the only thing that separates one form of energy, say a skin cell, from a molecule of wood, right? The only thing that separates that is its frequency or its vibrational state, right? So if we were to want to increase the vibrational state of something, and we matched its frequency with a coherent signal, meaning it's an amplifier, then we can start improving the stability or the health of that particular molecule. It doesn't matter if it's wood or if it's skin, okay? So the way that Healy works is Healy essentially is a quantum bridge. It's a bridge between this. I want you guys to understand that within the quantum field, there is a signature, or I should say a blueprint for everything, because again, everything's energy. So if we were able to just see frequencies with this visual acuity we have, you would not see differentiation between, say, Tenner and I, or you in the tree, you wouldn't necessarily see the color structures. You wouldn't necessarily see so much of the contrast as you would see a frequency. You would see a vibrational shift. So in other words, something vibrating very slowly versus something vibrating very quickly. And if we were able to change the vibrational state of something, we could strengthen it or deplete it. So what Healy is doing is it's taking us, it's got a method of monitoring you, taking a look at you, your resonant field, and finding what's out of whack, what's in dissonance, and then aligning frequencies for that dissonance, right? For that lack, to amplify them, to bring them back into harmony, to bring them back into balance, whether it's cells or systems or certain molecular structures within you, or emotions. It even works on the emotional baggage, because emotions is the way the body gives its part of the experience, right? Our senses take in all the content, right? So we're walking on a beach at sunrise, and our eyes are taking in the view. Our skin is taking in the temperatures and the radiance. Our nose, our olfactory nerve, is taking in the scent, right? Our feet are touching things. So we're taking in all the sensory concepts and information to build the experience. But the next thing that happens is that sends signatures or peptides, essentially, down to the body. So the body can now create chemical expressions to feed the mind its emotion. So you have this grateful moment of walking on the beach. Now, maybe somebody's with you that's had a really bad day, and they're back there in that angry car scenario. They're still on the same beach with you, right? You're in bliss. They're in turmoil, right? But here's the difference. The difference is this mind. Your senses are taking in the same content, right? Their eyes, my eyes, their sense of smell, so on. They may be acuity differences, but still real similar in the information going into the body. These are frequencies going into the body and the mind. And then the body has the way you assign meaning to all that is how the body then starts to produce the chemistry of the emotion. And emotion is to the body as thought is to the brain. These two come together and enrich the experience of that sunrise. So, wow, right? I mean, think about how much power you have when you have now a way of mitigating, say, some of the negative experience that you're having that's blocking you from having a great time at that sunrise, because you've got a Healy sending coherent signals into the body, into the mind, and kind of retuning things. Isn't that great? I mean, that's what it's exactly doing.
And they work. And when I get lazy sometimes. I mean, I'm working on him a lot, and I'll, even during those rough times, I mean, I have this Healy, and I could have been running some of the mental, system programs, to help me to pep me up, the coherence, and I didn't. I've been slacking. I've got this brilliant tool that does. I mean, I can't speak to every system that's out there, but I don't know many that do. Like, Ken, this analyzes you. It doesn't just like strap this on if you have pain, or put this patch over here if you have pain in your neck, and the patches. But what happened? Why do I have pain? This tells me why I have pain. This tells me where it's coming from. This tells me what to treat. This tells me what my mental issues are. This tells me what my mental baggage is that was handed down to me from my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-great, that I would have no idea of knowing. This helped me to forgive my father. And I say this because he was a PRIC.
Exclamation point.
It's truth and from the heart. And my mother's deathbed last words, coherent words before I said, give her more morphine. She was in so much pain, started mumbling. Last words were, make sure you take care of your father. And I used to joke with my sister. And I used to say, Mommy cursed us. Right? I used to joke. So we were there, when you had to be, when he fell his last fall over 2 years ago, which wound him in the home. But it wasn't, I didn't love my father. So this device, when I treated through the aura reading, and I sent Bach flowers, and I sent a frequency through my aura reading and my manifestation of the things that I wanted to do, this device helped me patch my relationship and get rid of my ancestral baggage that I could basically sacrifice and take a big chunk out of my life. This is not much life, when you're a full-time caretaker taking care of
Well,
your dad right now.
let me tell you something. So everybody, you are doing the work, right? So in other words, Healy is giving the frequencies, like I said earlier, to align misalignments, right?
Right.
And help you. It's like having an amplifier. It's having an amplifier, like someone to take a bit of the load off, but you still have to do the work, right? We still
Again,
have
so
to do the
this
work.
device is the bridge to the
Yes.
place where that's allowing me to go get all of that
Yes.
shit and throw it out or pull it in what I need. This is the bridge. And it does it so
Oh,
like
it,
nothing else. I mean, it's just it's crazy what
it's
this thing does.
taking many different sciences and bringing them together. And to be honest with you, I love technology. That's my background is engineering, and I love technology. And don't let it fool you out there. There's some bad, and then there's a lot of good, because the technology has helped us to bridge the next gap, and that's exactly what we're doing. And if I want to give you a one sentence, a one liner for Healy's definition, it is the bridge between the quantum field of information and the biological and physical fields of matter. It's the bridge. And all it's doing is it's showing you what the dissonance is, what the interrupt is. And here is a frequency to help you align it. And if you get out of the way, and when I say get out of the way, that means stop being the angry guy in traffic, right? If you get out of the way and allow the mind to relax and allow the just that universal law of allowance, allow these things to take hold for a moment, then the amplification. Now remember, I want you to know that healing actually takes less energy than stress. So in other words, it takes a lot more it's a lot more tasking on the body to be in the stress response than it is to be in the healing response.
Right. Because I have to go get all of that. I have to work myself up. I have to become angry. I have to
Yeah.
look for more shit. Right. Oh, I'm pissed off. What else can I get pissed off about? Let me look for something else.
Oh, and you will too.
Instead of just saying, I got to stop. I'm going outside with a drink out in the sun or in the woods or in the grass. I'm going to ground and I'm turning everything off and I'm going to relax and I'm going to dictate what's going on. I'm going to change my day. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to change the day in the life of those around me. I'm going
Let's
to
unpack that
positive energy.
Let's unpack that for a minute. The I am, that I am statement, because how many times do people, they say I am, and it's the I am they're referring to is what they see in the mirror, right? This reflection of I am. And then we have another part, so AKA the body, right? And ask yourself this question: am I my body? Is that who I am? Am I? It's a multiple choice. Am I my thoughts? Is that who I am? Am I the observer of all that? Is that who I am? And I love, there's an amazing book by Michael Singer called Untethered Soul. And if you want to understand a lot about the mind, and that's an amazing book, Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, because it really gives the purpose of the mind. And too often we think that our thoughts are our self, right? This internal dialogue is us. And to be honest with you, if you went outside of that, and that's why I say go to the gym and work out your awareness muscle, because if you're able to step beyond that, one more step beyond the thoughts that are going on in your brain, and you step outside of that and you be the observer of those thoughts inside of your mind, now you've gone to the awareness side. Now you've become removed from the body and the mind, and then also become the observer. The observer effect, Einstein talked about it perfectly, because the observer effect is actually what solidifies the particle, the energy, into matter. So as you become that observer, you have a much better orchestration or control over this material body, because it starts to manifest to the tune of 800,000 cells per second based on the observer, not the chaotic mind. Think about this for a moment. How much power is that when you have the ability to get beyond the chaotic mind? And we're going to talk about this mind, because there are 3 very specific ways in which we can get outside of a chaotic mind behavior. And it is a programmed response only because we have allowed it to be an efficient neural bundle in our brain. Every time we have a redundant thought, that thought gets stronger, builds more synaptic connections around the content or the superhighway of that belief or that thought, and it becomes a belief. You do it long enough, it becomes a personality trait. And suddenly we have these personalities that may not be serving us properly, right? So one thing I want to point out, in all the technologies that are out there, and I love technologies. I've been to I love to go to the biohacking conferences. I've been a speaker at some of those events before. And those biohacking conferences bring all kinds of technology to one arena where you can sample them and check them out and look at them all. There's one thing they all have in common. Now, I don't know, everything from infrared to massage systems to electrostimulations, things like that, whether it be light, sound, or vibrational frequency stuff. One thing they all have in common is that none of them really ask permission of the body. They don't ask permission of the body. Healy is one of the only technologies that I know of that literally asks permission of the body prior to any transmission, prior to any giving, because it looks to find out who you are. It finds the resonance of you. And then based on that resonance, here's the cool thing. It starts to build a model of alignment and amplification only based on that. And then it starts to apply. And as it's applying, it asks you how you doing. And the body gives feedback to say, I'm doing this much. And it gives you a report. It gives you a report. As you become 100% resonant with a frequency, it kicks it out of the routine. It doesn't give you that anymore.
Right.
Healy doesn't give you what you don't need. Right. So that's the cool thing. And I love this quote. There's a quote by Bruce Lee. My background's in martial arts. I'm an instructor for decades. And he says that the usefulness of the cup is its emptiness. So when you're full. You can't take any more, right? But yet these technologies out there, you set a timer, and let's say you're done at the end of 5 minutes, but the timer's set for 30. It's going to keep giving it and giving it and giving it.
I'm telling you. I mean, I used to, early on, I would think there was a problem, but my body, it would treat, it was sending frequency, and the program would stop early, and it would cut out of it and everything. And that's, my body has had enough. It's not going to not that you could be harmed by getting an extra 15 minutes of like frequency, right? But it just doesn't oversaturate it. It's that intelligent. It really is. And I mean, of course, anyone that's working with something is going to try to, do some bullshit and make it sound like it's the best thing. That's the best thing here, Ken. You really don't. And when you really learn and you see what's going on, you know that this is I don't know, what's the most like expensive piece of machinery. I'll even go past the Bentley. Like, this is like the space shuttle. The one that didn't blow up, the one that went and came back without any problems. So like that's what this is. The rest, I mean, I'm sorry, people are going to get mad at me, but I have to just tell the truth, and I always want to do the best thing for people. So the best thing for people is the Healy. It's really that simple.
Yep, I agree.
That simple. End of story. And I'll go tit for tat, and we can actually go at it with anybody. Bring a patch, bring something, bring a blow dryer with a light in it, and I'll annihilate it with this piece of technology right here.
Well, those are fixed, right? Those are typically fixed. Yeah. They're not dynamic systems. I'm not saying that this stuff is not useful. I mean, even
exactly. I didn't say that. I said
even like a
patch on, and you can get rid of some pain. But tell me, I want to know, why am I getting the pain? I don't want it anymore. I want to treat it, and I want it to be gone. That's why I have a Healy.
Exactly, because that's the key. The key is most of these systems are treating a symptom, right? And not so much the root or the cause.
This
and so
tells you the root cause of why you have the headache. It might be something in your lower back. It might be a pinched nerve. You don't know. Everyone's different, and this tells you what it is.
A perfect technology out there that is a great example of a technology that people use. It's got some benefit. But where if you don't get out of it when the body is done, you're going to get some damage, and that's a suntan booth, right? I mean, how many people set the timer, go in there, maybe fall asleep or whatever, and have been, burnt or damaged because they're in there too long? That system is not asking permission of your body at all.
Right.
And so this is some of the technology that has some purpose a little bit, but the patch stuff, everything has its purpose. Everything has its benefit. Even the TENS unit, folks are familiar with the TENS unit. If you look at the molecular influence on the body at the cell level, I want you to go to the cell level for a minute, because when we look at benefits, we look a lot of times at the whole organism. And so, yep, it's getting some benefit. And when we put a TENS unit on, let's say we have a stressed muscle or something we're trying to use a TENS unit for to oscillate that structure, and it's giving an electrical current, giving current into the body and convulsing that structure. And there's benefit there by convulsing that structure, those tissues, so that it gets fluids in and waste out and that kind of thing, relaxation stuff. But if you look at the cells, they're agitated, they're angry because they're involuntarily convulsing. And that's not what they want to do right then. Right then, they're trying to save you. They're trying to help you by, whatever the pain or the tension or what's going on. Yeah, the body can overcompensate. Don't get me wrong, because inflammation and tension and cramping and that kind of thing, those are all still symptoms. We're not listening to the body very well to try to read the symptoms to find out what treatment is going to help the symptom. We're just trying to give it stuff to relieve that symptom, drugs or a TENS unit or whatever it is. So when we look at the body's level at the cell level, Healy is actually going in there and speaking at the cell level, asking what does the cell structure, or I should say the system, need? And then it's testing it. It's sending information in there frequency wise. The system's giving feedback, in other words, resonant feedback from your body into the Healy, and the Healy saying, okay, yep, that's the one. And it fine tunes until it finds exactly the series that you need for the modality of the program, right? Then it implements for a period of time and then starts to see how resonant you're coming with each frequency. And then does a little cleanup afterwards, which is the higher level, more spiritual or emotional level of alignment at the very end of the program. But it's brilliant technology. Like I said, it took several different technologies to come to fruition for it to be able to be launched, including, by the way, these smart devices. They had to have the smart devices with app-driven capability so that we could be able to do this. And folks, don't be afraid of it. And some of the AI technology, right? That feedback loop is definitely it's constantly evolving as it's reading and writing to you, but for your benefit. Here's the thing about technology. When it is limited by your body's permission sequence, now it's for us, right? It's for us because our body has to give permission. So as it does that, our bodies has its own intelligence, people. And I think you know this because how many times has something happened that's sent you bedridden or disabled you, and it made you heal, right? It made you heal. That's right. The body's intelligence. So listen to our bodies.
So Ken, we're in it's 8:53. I know you had about an hour. So and I know we didn't get to I'm gonna have you back because these are just, our chats are getting better and better. Grounding is important. I know you wanted to touch on, even if you get a mat or something, if you can't leave the house, right? Because grounding is so important. And I wanted to leave with depending on how much time you have, I want you to touch on the pets because there's an amazing. I didn't even believe it. I didn't see it at the beginning of the month. The deal that they have going on with the Healy Gold Edition, with the free coil and the pet module and everything like that. They're like focusing on pets for August. I didn't know that. And that deal is still going on to the end of the month. And I think people should know about it because people care about pets more than themselves.
Oh, I agree. People pay more money for the care of their pets these days than they do on themselves. And
I know.
And so great for the pets, but folks, we have to. There has to be a self-care protocol, folks.
No, and great part, and I'm just put the chat on. Hello to all of our amazing divine feminine women. I even see Sophie in there. I would have brought her in, but we're limited for time right now. Maybe next show. Hello everybody. Hello ladies. Love you all. Share this video. We had a great show tonight. We're gonna wrap it up with the pet thing, and I have to, Ken, in my videos, just because I'm coming up with a great thing. We were talking about community, no matter what it is. So I'm coming up with something. I'm coming up with something called Patriot Finder. .us, and it's just, because there's a lot of craziness going on in the world, and I think people find themselves still isolated on an island. They can't speak about their truth, whether it's healing, whether it's who they voted for, whether they think something's wrong or not, the cancel culture, all the craziness, and people are alone. I found on my journey. So this Patriot Finder .us is so important to me. I'm getting ready to launch it, and we'll never ask anyone's address. It's just to find people. It'll work by zip code, so then you can DM people and you can meet in public. Be safe, but we want to get people together. And it's called Patriot Finder, but it's for anyone that is on the same page and wants to go through this fight together, because we got a little bit of craziness coming up still, I think, and we got to keep ourselves together. We got to learn how to heal. We got to learn how to take our power back, and we have to share very important information. So that site is very, very important to me. I'll share really quick if I can. My screen. Can you see the logo there, Ken?
Yep, I see it.
There's the patriotfinder.us. So there's that.
I see it.
So just want people to know about that. And I would love for you to what do you want to close with? The time is yours. And then we'll give I had the website up there. I put a quick website together with, usually try to keep up with the monthly deals for Healy information, testimonials from some of our tribe on there, from our beautiful women that changed their lives, and information. There's the website right there, and you can email questions and such like that. But what do you want to close with, Ken? You were going to tell me that beautiful story about your dog Charlie, and how the Healy saved your dog.
There is so many great testimonies out there. I know around pets. I have a personal experience with my 14-year-old border collie. 2 years ago, she was just out of the blue. She just decided to stop eating and drinking, and I thought, okay, she was 12, almost 13 then, and I thought, well, gosh, that's been a pretty good run for a border collie, but she just didn't seem right that she went from being vital and festive and spunky, and then all of a sudden just gave up on life, and I didn't understand it. Well, we had gotten a new puppy, and so there was a lot of time put into this new puppy a bit, and then all of a sudden my old girl Charlie, she just started to lose faith in life. Maybe, I don't know what was going on. So I did a scan on her. I did a resonance scan. This is what Healy can do for us, is it can give us some information about what's going on based on the quantum field signature of whatever they're scanning, whether it's a person, a pet.
This is for humans also, everyone. We're just talking about the pets. This is what the Healy does.
The Healy can scan our pets. It can scan our plants. It can scan a building. It can scan any energy field. We just put it in as a client, and we can give readings for alignment. Everything has energy, and everything can get misaligned, right? They're just like some residents, some dwellings have had some catastrophic events in it that just have bad energy in them, right? So that can be aligned and cleared. So I did a scan on Healy, and with Healy on my Charlie, and it said the first thing it read was lack of love from the father.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Because you're paying, you're with the puppy.
Exactly. And so I was like, dagger to the heart, this is my girl. And I was like, what? And I thought about it for a minute. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have been spending more time on this new puppy than her. And all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I want to find out what frequencies, and this is a resonance scan, by the way, folks. I did a resonance scan, and then I also did an aura scan, because the aura scan gives a lot of information about this background, right? So some of the baggage that's going on. So the aura scan gave me this amazing information. And then I started running the frequencies for alignment. Now, my poor girl had gotten to the point where she couldn't even get up. I had to carry her outside when I thought maybe she had to go potty or whatever. She wouldn't even lift her head. I ran the frequencies. I started that night, and I turned it on to where it would run 24 hours. And you can program this to run.
Yeah, in the manual. Yeah.
In the manual systems. And so I ran it all night. The next day when I went up there, she had lifted her head up and was looking at me, right? And I put the pan of water under her and she started drinking. So I ran it all that day. By the end of that day, she was standing up, right?
Amazing. It's amazing. Amazing.
So we went from not moving, lethargic, really, I thought, at the end of her life. And she thought so too, because she's like, nobody loves me anymore. And it went from there back to being vitality, strength, her charisma. Now, she passed away just this past January, but we got another 2 years, right? And she was amazing. So there is a life expectancy, right? And we can make the quality of life as good as we can for as long as we can. Eventually, life does leave us, but I am so grateful for the healing, the tool, and the ability to be able to see.
Wow.
I couldn't understand her language, right? I could feel her, but I couldn't quite tell what was going on. But this is how we can actually dive deep into that. So I just wanted to share that story about my Charlie, and I also want to
Go ahead.
I want to close with a gift for you guys, because
Wow, you didn't tell me about this. And
because there is these minds that we are constantly in partnership with. Oftentimes we think that it's against us, but we really do need to accept the fact that life is for us. And if we can get that one understanding under our belt and allow that everything that's coming into you is for you because you have drawn it in. You're not a victim to it. You are a participant within it. So I want you to look at things as being a participant within life. And the gift I want to give you is a gift of getting beyond the mind for a moment. And our number one tool that we can get beyond the mind is our awareness. Going above and outside the thought process that you're going through, just knowing.
Hey, Ken, are you I named this show, I'm my hair's standing up, okay? I named this show Frequency Friday. You know, those that follow me, I've been talking about doing Frequency Fridays. They were going to be like on Telegram, or just wanted to build it up. And I wanted it to just be a nice, quiet place, everything opposite of the angry man in traffic. I maybe wanted it was developed in my head and we never got to it. So I named, just because today's Friday, I named this Frequency Friday. And about 20 minutes ago, I was thinking, if we could somehow like close today in a very special, like close it in that very special and leave people with a few minutes to get a taste of what the future looks like, of getting rid of the angry person and getting into that space. And here you are. And here you are. I mean, do you understand what's going on?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Because I kind of manifested this. This is your world. These are things that I wanted because they're good things for people other than me. They're for others.
Yep.
That's why I wanted Frequency Friday. I don't need Frequency Friday. When I had the angry old man today, but I'm back set and I'm never going backwards again. I'm going to keep the magic carpet out at all times. And if the angry man comes out, I'm gonna smack his ass right out the door and say, "Get the hell out of here! These my 800,000 cells are working. You can't be near them." So here you are talking about with this gift, and I couldn't have written this script any better. So I wanted to, because I want to close out quietly. I want to get the junk out of the way here. I want to thank you. You're the man. You're definitely coming back. We're attached at the hip forever, soul brother. And thank you so much for what you do. I love you very much. And I want people, I just checked the website. It's healingtheworld.love. I did update the pet program is on there with that amazing deal. I mean, the Healy gold model, there's nothing to hide. The gold model is around $500, and they're giving you a free 220. I think the coil is 200. The Tesla coil, right? This thing it costs you $224, I believe, through Healy. They're giving this to you for free, 6 months of the pet module, right? And the gold edition for like $500. It's insane that they love your pets more than you. They haven't done anything like that for humans, right? So, but I mean, while you have it, you can treat yourself to running some of the programs on the gold, like relax and release and energy. And you can start to take care of your depression and anxiety if you decide to care about yourself. But it's for your pets. It's on the website. You can go check it out. And
Absolutely.
we're gonna
Yeah.
share this everywhere. And so make sure you go to Healing the World, check it out, testimonials, and the monthly deals till the end of the month. Get involved if you can for your pets. If not for you, for your pets. And you're going to close this out, Ken.
Yep.
And when you say goodbye and goodbye to everyone, I'm clicking the end button. But I would love for that. My hair's standing up. Like I want people to learn. We must, no matter how busy we are, and now no matter how angry we are, and we think we have to be worried about all of this junk and this shit. We cannot. Even this thing can only do so much. If you're going to be the person laying in bed like me this morning, like I could have been running this, and I think this would have went on fire. The mood I was in this morning, I don't know, but you have to participate in this.
Yes.
You have to want it, right?
We have to.
People that this thing changes their lives overnight, and they're the people that want it and get it. And then there's the people that it takes longer, and they're like, I'm noticing things, Tenner, but I don't. And I know them, and I don't want to say you don't have any faith. You're angry all the time. You want everyone to just like save you. You want the answers. You don't want to do any work. That's why you're not getting great results like in a split second. Why is it not working for me? Because you're the angry old person.
Yes. We have rules, we have rules, we have laws, universal laws, and that law of allowance, that law of acceptance, those universal laws of attraction, all those are part of it. And this is what, in working with this mind, and I do want to offer this for you guys because this works. When there is a moment in which one finds themselves in a stress response, and understand that stress response, you're in that stress response, and there are vital systems inside of you shutting down so that you can survive that angry temperament on the road, or whatever that small little input has been that sets you off, that trigger, whatever it was. Vital systems are shutting down within you. Your digestive system is down regulating, so all that energy can go over to fighting. Your reproductive system is down regulating, shutting down so that it can fight. The body needs to fight, not reproduce, right? Your immune system gets suppressed. So all that immune suppression energy, that immune response, all that energy is used so that you can have some fist doubled up, right, to fight with. Those are essential systems that are shutting down within you, that are healing when you're in that rest response. So here's how you get yourself out of it. I want you guys to take a moment. Do this with me. Because if you are triggered by something, and believe me, a trigger outside there, folks, is for us. Because if you noticed, you're probably getting triggered in the same way, day after day. And this is a clue from the divine to say, you haven't learned yet. The reason you keep getting the same trigger to have the same emotion is because you haven't allowed yourself to heal. And in order for you to heal, you need to recognize it. Number one, you need to recognize it. I'm being triggered right now. Okay, step one. I want you to do a 3-2-1 thing. I want you to observe 3 things. So 3 things you can see right now. Just 3 things you can see. I see a fire hydrant. There's a tree. And oh my gosh, there is a sunset. 3 things you can see. I don't care if it's a bird, if it's a rock, if it's a bicycle. I want you to pick up 3 things you can see. 3 things. 2, I want 2 things you can smell. Use your olfactory nerve. Smell. Maybe you smell nothing. Okay. Maybe you smell popcorn. Maybe you smell your air freshener. Maybe you smell pine, whatever it is. Maybe you smell your own deodorant. I don't care. So 3 things you see, 2 things you can smell, and then 1 thing you can touch. 3, 2, 1. 3 things you can see, 2 things you can smell, one thing you can touch. I want you to incorporate that part of your sensory perception. That right there is going to start to downregulate your sympathetic, in other words, your fight or flight, right? Okay, that's the first thing I want you to do, that set of 3. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to breathe, and I'm going to teach you a very structured breath that will sway your heart rate variability right into the rest and digest within 5 reps. All right, and it's called a 1-to-2 ratio breath. So what you're going to do is you're going to inhale for the count of 2. Inhale 1, 2. Hold for the count of 2. Hold 1, 2. Exhale for the count of 4. Exhale, 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 exhale. So in other words, you're inhaling half as long as you're exhaling. Here's why. Because when you do that, it slows down your heart rate. And your heart rate, or HRV, is determining your sympathetic or parasympathetic nervous state. You can move yourself out of fight or flight into rest and digest by that breath. It's half as long of an inhale, twice as long as exhale. So you can do a 3 to 6 second or a 2 to 4. Most people, 2 to 4 works. Okay, so let's just do it together. Let's just do it together. You ready? So inhale. 1, 2. Hold. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, inhale. Hold. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, inhale. Hold. 1, 2. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, how do you feel? What's that feel like? Right? It's like, I can rest. That was only 3 reps. You do that 5 times and practice this, folks. Practice this. I'm not going to say you're great at it. You won't be great at it. Maybe
I incorporate the breathing. Can I do that when I try to ground and I do the
Yep.
breathing? I put some nice little music on, soothing music, and I try to. But again, this is the main thing we have to work on, because sometimes it's so hard. Sometimes you're such the angry young man, and
Yep.
the mind. I'm noticing a lot lately. The mind won't close. The mind won't turn off. Like I'll be thinking about it, and then I forgot to do that. You know what I mean? The mind is so busy.
Yep.
We got to get out of the mind. Got to get
And
in.
the senses, and it's the senses that created that in the first place. So use the senses in that 3, 2, 1 modality. 3 things you can see, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can touch. Do that and try that, and then the breath. Do it simultaneously, and I'll tell you what, you're gonna go, "What was I mad about? I don't even remember what they said." In a very short period of time. So we'll work on that awareness muscle, folks.
I said we were going to end it on that, but no, it just didn't work out. But no, that's amazing. We have to work on this, and people really should look for like that 10 or 12-minute video with Greg Braden of connecting the mind and the heart. It's one of the main things that helped me. Like I don't have tens and tens and tens of hundreds of hours in on Braden and Lipton and stuff. It's just a couple of key videos that creator and people and angels along this journey sent me to see. And that like 10-12 minute video with Braden connecting the heart and the mind is one of the things that I incorporated when I do this breathing and this manifesting and this calming down. And that video has been a big help to me
Yep, absolutely.
to be where I'm sitting. Nothing grandiose is going on, but it's not about money and all of these things before, that I was striving for before. Now it's just about getting everyone on the same page, humanity, helping everyone, and doing these beautiful things, and meeting and working with beautiful people like Ken Close. So
You're doing a great job. Thank you very much, because it is community that really helps build the healing modalities within the body. We need a community. We need people that we can trust, and we can have a like-minded discussion around, and that is what really helps us feel connected. So thank you for this. Thank you, and I bless you, my friend. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much, Ken, and you'll definitely come back. We have to do this again, and I want just people to hang just for a moment. I'll let you go, and so much appreciate that you made the time to come here today. It was a fantastic show.
Thank you, brother. Love you. Love you, Dad. See you back there. See you.
He went
Bye,
to bed. I
Pops.
just heard him yell. I got to go in there in a minute.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ken. Have an
Yep.
incredible weekend.
See you next time.
Yes, sir.
Bye, everybody.
So everybody, please, Healing the World. We got some testimonials on there. What Healy's doing for August is on the monthly deals there. If you have any questions, the email is on the website. Whoever invited you to watch this video, if someone invited you to watch this and someone invited you, has been discussing, the Healy with you, make sure you get back with them. Even when you go to Healing the World and get some information, you could watch some videos. There's 2 amazing videos right on the homepage. If you scroll down, a 6-minute and like a 10-minute or something, discussing the Healy. It really breaks it down. Amazing. We didn't get into much of it today, but it's on healingtheworld.love, and that amazing pet deal. And you could benefit. You could treat your pet, and then you could throw a beautiful program on yourself and try it out. Anyway, visit healingtheworld.love. And for those that are looking for Patriots, if you're feeling alone, you want to hook up with people in your neighborhood, you'll be able to search by a radius by zip code. We'll never ask for anybody's address. And that's Patriot Finder. .us that will be launching in September. So it was a great show. Thank you so much, everyone. Hello to everyone in the chat. I didn't get to speak with you all. I'll catch up with you, Sophia. Today ran away from me. So thanks for tuning into Tenor Talk. You're watching this on Tenor Talk or the Grassroots Warrior Network, where I'm on Monday nights at 8 Eastern. So on Rumble, check it out. I don't know if I have the link under here. I will edit that and put that under here. Check me out Monday nights, 8 Eastern on the Grassroots Warrior Network. And thank you, everyone. Visit healingtheworld.love for more information on the Healy. And the next week or two, I'm going to do a much bigger show, incorporate my dad more, so we could talk more about Pops, and you can see some of the things and see some old pictures and some old videos of where we've come from since February. Changed his life, the Healy did. And thank you, everyone. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. It's Friday night, August 25th. I'm Tenor from Tenor Talk, where we speak truth and from the heart always. Love you guys, and I will see you next time. Get your butt over to healingtheworld.love and learn a little bit about what's going on.